Hi guys, this is my first time posting a Game of Thrones video, and it's a bit late to be doing so, but I wanted to address something that I haven't seen anyone else point out yet. So this video is of course about the most recent episode of Season 7, Beyond the Wall. Specifically, I'm going to be discussing the most dramatic parts of the episode, which are Viserion's death and resurrection at the hands of the Night King. I'm going to try to keep things short, and with that said, let's get right into it. So Jon leads a group north of the wall in search of a white and is quickly overrun by the undead army. Go figure. He sends word to Daenerys for help, and she shows up with her dragons to save the day. Only it appears that the Night King may have been waiting for this to happen because he was armed and ready for her. Using one of his newfangled ice spears, he downs poor Viserion before anybody knows what hit him. She and the others book it before he has a chance to kill the remaining two dragons, but it seems like, at least for now, the Night King is content with the one he's got. In the last moments of the episode, we see that Viserion has fallen into the lake and is being dragged out by the undead army. The Night King then reses him, and in the last shot, we see Viserion open his now blue eyes. So in all the post-episode commentary and breakdown videos, everyone is all up in arms about Viserion. Is he an undead dragon now? Or is he a white dragon? Is there a difference between the two? Will he or will he not breathe fire? Although I really don't see why he would be breathing fire, because that's not associated with the others at all. But anyways, I think that I have the answer to this question, and it just requires us to look at the details. But first, let's review what we already know about the others, starting with the whites. Whites, as we all know, are the zombies of Westeros. They're the living dead, corpses that have been raised again by White Walkers or the Night King. We've seen them since the beginning of the show, and this is the wildling girl that appears in the very first episode of the series and kind of sets the scene for us as far as whites go. Now, immediately we can see that her eye color is different. She used to have brown irises, but now they're the milky blue color that's been associated with the undead. Here's Othor. He's the white that tried to kill Lord Commander Mormont at Castle Black. Same blue eyes as the wildling girl white, and notice also that like the first white, the sclera or the whites of his eyes are still visible. Only his irises have turned blue. Now let's fast forward to Carsey at Hardhome. Again, same milky blue irises and white sclera. And even in last Sunday's episode, we have seen the same traits in the white that our heroes bagged. He's more decomposed than the others, but still, cloudy blue iris and white sclera. But okay, that's easy enough to assume that people would all have the same eyes, given that they share the same anatomy. But what about in the case of non-human whites? Well, that's where we move along to look at our polar bear friend that wrecked poor Thoros of Myr. See, real-world bears have no visible white to their eyes. But what about undead bears? Well, it took me a lot of pausing and rewinding, but I finally got a relatively clear close-up of the bear. Notice anything? Blue iris, white sclera. It's right there. Based on what we've seen in the series to this point, all whites, human or otherwise, have the same dull, cloudy blue irises and white sclera. Well, now that we've covered the whites, let's move on to the White Walkers. Do you see the difference? The entire eye is this vibrant, glacial, almost sapphire blue. The color's much more pronounced than the eyes of the whites. The entire eyeball is glowing. It's almost like it's alive, and it looks like it's purely iris with no sclera at all. In addition to this, we know that the White Walkers have a few other differences to whites. The biggest difference between the two is that White Walkers are not dead. They're living beings, just a different type of species. They're not raised like whites are. They're made by the Night King, and we've seen this before with Craster's baby. A White Walker took him to the land of always winter, to the Night King, and the Night King touched the baby's cheek and transformed him into a White Walker. That's significant. Okay, it's actually the first time that we even see the Night King in the series. Now, where else have we seen something like that? With Viserion, last Sunday. The Night King made a point to have Viserion hauled out of the frozen lake so that he could place his hands on the dragon to resurrect him. Could he have raised him without doing that? Absolutely. I've seen other channels suggest that maybe he didn't raise him Hardhome style because it would take too much power. But I think that that's a weak argument. Come on, guys. There were 100,000 wildlings at Hardhome. Dragons are big and all, but they don't equate to over 95,000 corpses. If the Night King could raise that many people without breaking a sweat, he could have easily raised the dragon that way. I think he did this intentionally to create what he's been waiting for this entire time. An ice dragon. That's right. And before you say, wait, but you just mentioned how White Walkers are alive and Viserion is dead, so how is he going to be a White Walker dragon? Let me clarify. I don't think he was dead yet. We saw him fall into the lake, and we saw him close his eyes and sink. But I believe that if anything, Viserion sank before he was completely dead. The Arctic water could have easily served to slow down his body processes not enough to keep him in suspended animation. It's the same process as induced hypothermia, which doctors use to keep people in critical condition from dying long enough to get, whatever medical attention they need. That could have been enough to keep Viserion alive long enough to be taken out and transformed. Now, I'm 100% certain that Viserion isn't an ordinary undead dragon. He's going to breathe ice because he's an ice dragon now. He's been transformed just like Craster's baby was transformed, just like every other White Walker so far has been made, and everything has been pointing to this. Viserion is the Night King's key to getting past the wall. I predict that he's going to use Viserion to go around the wall at Eastwatch by the Sea. He is literally going to freeze the sea with his new ice dragon, as hinted at in the map in the opening credits. I predict that he's then going to march his army south over the frozen sea and bring the fight to all of Westeros. That is what Bran's vision at the beginning of the season has been pointing to, and that, folks, is my prediction for the Season 7 finale and the rest of Season 8. So thanks for watching. Comment below and let me know what you think.